Pain is something we all deal with. It's this universal language, but even though we all feel it, we don't always know what to do about it. It's so easy to feel totally lost in a sea of options. So today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. I'm going to give you a simple but really powerful way to choose the right natural approach for your specific pain. Let's dive in. So let's start by flipping the script a little bit. What if we stopped thinking of pain as this enemy that we have to crush in silence? What if, instead, we saw it as a messenger? It's your body trying to tell you something. And if we can learn to listen to those signals, we can respond way more intelligently and, honestly, way more effectively. The goal here isn't just to mask the pain, it's to actually understand the message. And you want to know the best part? You do not need to memorize some giant encyclopedia of plants to do this. The real secret to figuring out herbal remedies is actually just learning a super simple decision-making process. I'm serious. It all boils down to asking yourself just 2 key questions about the pain you're feeling. That's it. All right, so let's jump into step 1, becoming a detective for your own body. This whole first part is about learning how to classify your pain. We're going to look at where it's coming from and what its rhythm feels like. Once you get this down, I promise, everything else just clicks into place. This right here is the first big fork in the road. You've got to ask, is this pain coming from your body's tissue, your muscles, joints, that kind of thing? Or is it coming from your wiring, your nervous system? Tissue pain is that classic localized ache or throb that feels worse when you move it. But nerve pain? Oh, that's a whole different beast. Think burning, tingling, or like a literal electric shock that shoots down a path. Nailing this distinction is absolutely crucial because they need totally different kinds of support. So the second key question is all about timing and intensity. Is your pain a raging, out-of-control bonfire, or is it more like the slow, persistent burn of smoldering embers? Let me break that down. Acute inflammation is like a bonfire. It's your body's short, intense, and fiery response to a fresh injury, like a sprain. It's hot, swollen, and it only lasts a few days. Chronic inflammation, on the other hand, is like those embers. It's a low-grade nagging state that can just go on and on for weeks, months, or even years. It's that constant stiffness and dull, annoying ache. Okay, so now we know how to ask the right questions, it's time to build our toolkit. In this section, we're going to match the right family of herbs to the specific type of pain we just figured out how to identify. I want you to think of these not as just random remedies, but as specialized tools designed for a very specific job. So for that first category, that tissue pain, we're going to look at what we can call the core anti-inflammatories. These are the real heavy lifters for all those aches and pains in your muscles and joints. This is exactly where powerhouse herbs like turmeric, ginger, and boswellia just absolutely shine. They get to work by directly tackling that inflammatory process right there in the tissue itself. But what about that wiring problem? The nerve pain? See, this is where your standard anti-inflammatories usually don't do much. And that's why we need a totally different set of tools, nerve modulators. These are specialized herbs that know how to directly calm and support an irritated nervous system. Things like topical St. John's wort oil and capsaicin cream are fantastic examples of herbs that work on this very specific pathway. All right, let's put everything we've talked about together in one super practical cheat sheet. Seriously, think of this as your go-to guide. Let's walk through it. First, you find your pain type over there in the left-hand column. So say you identified your pain as that acute tissue bonfire. You just follow that row over and boom, you see options like turmeric and ginger. If it's more of a chronic, smoldering ember kind of pain in your joints, the chart guides you towards boswellia. And for that shooting, wiring pain, you go right down to the nerve modulators row and you'll find topical St. John's wort. It's a simple, powerful map that connects your pain's message directly to the right tool for the job. Okay, theory is great and all, but let's make this practical. How does this whole framework actually work in a real-life situation? In this final section, we're going to walk through a really common injury just to see how you'd apply these principles safely and effectively from start to finish. Okay, picture this. You're walking, you step off a curb wrong, and bam, you twist your ankle. Ouch. We've all been there, right? So let's apply our framework. First question, is it tissue or nerve? Well, it's a direct injury to ligaments and muscles, so that's classic tissue pain. Second question, is it acute or chronic? It just happened, it's swelling up, it's intense. That is a bonfire, definitely acute. See? The message is crystal clear, acute tissue inflammation. So what do we do about it? We follow a really clear protocol for those first critical 72 hours. It's simple. Step 1 is all about immediate care. Get some cold on there to manage the swelling and use a topical like arnica gel. It's fantastic for bruises and trauma. Step 2 is to work from the inside out with those core anti-inflammatories we talked about, like a combination of turmeric and ginger. And finally, step 3, and this is so important, is to start some gentle, pain-free movement as soon as you can. That's what helps prevent stiffness and really promotes healing. And this really brings us back to the main idea, doesn't it? The herbs, they're powerful allies, for sure, but they aren't magic. The single most effective tool that you have is not in a bottle or a capsule. It's the ability you now have to just listen, to decode what your body's signals mean, and to respond with the right action at exactly the right time. Now, this is incredibly important, so listen up. This framework is for managing common aches and pains, but it is absolutely not a substitute for medical care. This slide lays out the non-negotiable red flags. If you experience severe trauma, if you literally can't put weight on a limb, if you have a fever along with your pain, if you're losing strength or sensation, or you have unexplained weight loss, you need to see a doctor immediately. Your safety is always, always priority number 1. So, let's end with this powerful idea. There is no single plant for all pain, because not all pain is the same. But by understanding the mechanism, by decoding your pain's unique message, you can build a plan that is simple, safe, and actually works for you. The real power is in your hands now. The question is, now that you can hear the message, what are you going to do with it?